Okay, so in Metroid Prime, you go to this world because you get a space pirate. You see the space pirates go there, and you have to pursue them, try to stop them from doing nefarious deeds or whatever. And you get there, and you're running around these ruins that are full of lore of these people who helped raise you when you were a kid. Samus, I guess. The Chozo helped raise her when she was a kid, but I digress. So you run through, and eventually you kill this giant plant, and then you find out about this prophecy where it mentions corruption and worlds being poisoned and dying off, and all these ancient civilizations their dead are coming back alive and killing everybody because of this weird corruption. And it also mentions Samus in it. And so you're like, whoa, this is weird. And so it says that you, the player, well, Samus, it's your job to basically save this planet, and in doing so you'll figure out how to save the entire universe, because there's this corruption that's just spreading around from planet to planet, and it's going to poison them all and kill off all life until there's only Phazon in the world, in the entire universe actually. But anyway, so you finally get your mission of Metroid Prime. You finally figure out what you're doing, and it's up to you. Like, suddenly there's this huge burden on you to save the entire galaxy, and it's like serious business. And this song plays as soon as you get back on the overworld, and you know what to do. You have to find all the Chozo artifacts and search all around the world until you can find them all, so you can get powered up enough to kill the Phazon that is on this world. And this song plays on the hub world where you go to the different levels, and it just fits so well. Like, it sounds so determined, like, alright, this is what we're gonna do. This is serious. But I can do it because I'm Samus Aran. Or, I can do it because I'm Samus. Anyway. Some people think that, I kind of think this, I'm not positive. Some people think that this is actually a remix of the Brinstar Overgrown track from Super Metroid, and I can kind of hear it in there, which is why I kind of think that. But I'm not positive. You can definitely hear the dun, 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 which is the background of the Super Metroid track, and it's also in this one as like the weird fake synth choir. But anyway. Okay, it's almost kind of cliche to put this one on the list because it's almost a kind of semi-famous video game track from this game. The Crashed Frigate Reactor Core. Well, it's also called Underwater Frigate Reactor Core. I'm not positive what it's actually called. It's also just called Inside the Crashed Space Pirate Frigate, or Inside the Frigate Orpheon when it's, I don't know, it can be called a lot of things, but it plays. Okay, so at the beginning of Metroid Prime, you enter this distress signal. You go there, and it's like this ship that's been totally destroyed. Well, not totally, but very destroyed. And you get there, and you find out that it's actually a space pirate vessel. So you're like, oh man, But you go in and you're searching, and all of a sudden there's this big space parasite, and there's Phazon, and there's half-dead pirates, and anyway, so you escape when you see Ridley, who is like your big rival. He escapes, you fly after him to the planet. You totally forget about the frigate that you were on at the beginning of the game. And then, like, it's in the second half of the game. But you see this huge, you're exploring around the hub world, and you see this huge metal thing just sticking out of the ground, and there's these cracked, leaking, I almost said vases, cases of Phazon all over the ground, and there's space pirates, but they're like almost dying. And you go over there, and you don't realize at first, but you go inside this huge metal thing, and you start to explore, and everything's underwater, and you go down, and you don't realize it for the first few rooms, but then it hits you. It's like, wait, this is the place I was at the beginning of the game. And there's this piano, there's this soothing piano music, and all this I almost said techno. It's not quite techno, it's very synth though. This synth, really pretty crescendos and decrescendos, and really pretty floaty rhythms all in the background of the music. And you're underwater, and the song fits perfectly for an underwater level, but I think it also fits well for... It's almost a sad song, almost, because of the sad pianos, and the melody itself isn't very sad, though. Even though it's a crash ship where all these people died. So you'd think it'd be a little bit sadder, but... I think, when you go inside the crashed submerged frigate, and you see all these dead bodies and stuff, but you also see all this new life. Like, there's new plants, and there's new animals, and they're thriving in there. And this song is playing, and it's almost like there's this huge disaster, but then this plays afterwards, like everything's gonna be alright. See, look at what happened here. This thing fell into the ground. It's half underwater. Pretty much everybody on it is dead. But from that, there's new life springing up in the world, and they're gonna be fine, and so will you. You're gonna save the world. Good job. And so it's almost like a death and rebirth kind of song if you think about it in a certain way. This is a really nice song. It plays in this, it's a forest, but it's been flooded by this big war that happened, and all the inhabitants who were, like, they weren't engineers, but they were really savvy with mechanics, so they built all these metal platforms and stuff all around, and they also, like, lived in harmony with nature, so they had all these trees and metal right next to each other. But then the place flooded, and all of the Luminoths, that's what they were called, they all scattered, and the ones that didn't were killed in the war that followed afterwards. So now this place is like this big. It's almost an apocalyptic type thing, because there's nothing in there but like these monsters. Well, they aren't monsters. They're animals, I guess. I mean, some of them are really monsters. There's these gridslers, which are just these big frogs with huge spikes, and they can swim, and they have their shigots only retextured. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, it's almost kind of apocalyptic because there's all this lore of these people that were there so long ago, but now they're gone, and you can see some of their corpses laying around actually, and there's all these beautiful, like, half metal, half wood structures all over in this beautiful environment that's been flooded. So there's these plants that are all soggy and kind of moldy, but despite all this, it's like constantly raining there. And even though everything's all drenched and wet, it's really pretty in a way. It's a swamp. And I mean, in video games, swamps are usually pretty. They're half water level, so of course they're pretty. But this song, I think it's kind of cool how this song, it uses only synthesized, quote-unquote, fake instruments, but they fit the really natural setting. They just fit it really well, even though none of them are actually, quote-unquote, natural instruments. And I think that's really cool how Kenji Yamamoto did that. He's really good at what he does. He makes really good video. He made like music for the entire Metroid series. He made Super Metroid, and I think all of the ones after that. Maybe not Other M. That was more of an ambient track. I'm kind of stalling though because this is a really long song.